Hi, welcome to the Bear Bin Cabin here on the grounds of the Sam Houston Memorial Museum. Our Bear Bin Cabin is one of our favorite places here on the grounds. It's a cabin that wasn't originally here. It was in Montgomery County, not too far from, on the banks of the San Jacinto River, kind of southwest from where Conroe is now. It was moved over here just 3 years ago. But it's wonderful because General Sam Houston and his friends used to go bear hunting there on the banks of the San Jacinto River. They used to have lots of bear here in Texas. Unfortunately, we don't have them now. We're down to just very few. They are coming back, but don't ever kill one now. It's a $10,000 fine. We don't want to do that. We want our bear to come back. But here, General Houston would go and visit the family. We think that the family lived on this side, and then on the other side would have been their dining room. Then upstairs on this side would have been the family residence. Over on the other side would have been the kind of a place for all of the renters to come and visit. Well, it was moved over here, as I said, 3 years ago to the grounds of the Sam Houston Museum. This was a farm. This is where General Houston and his wife Margaret lived. Bought the property in 1847, built their home, the Woodland home, and moved here. It was a working farm. We had 234 acres that we grew a variety of crops, cotton being one of them. And that's what we're talking about today. It's cotton. And we actually grew this cotton here on the grounds. I don't know how many of you have grown up with cotton. I did. I came from West Texas. My name is Helen Belcher, and I did come from Lubbock, and we grew lots of cotton. We don't grow as much here anymore here in this area. They do grow it over around Bryan College Station, but we have brown cotton. We'll get some of this out here. Well, can we get it? Okay, this is cotton that we've actually grown here on the grounds. Now, when Stephen F. Austin moved here and started with those original 300, he wanted us to be totally self-sufficient. He wanted us to grow our own cotton, to take out the seeds, to card it, to spin it, to weave it. He wanted us to do all of it, make our own clothes. Do you have any idea how much work that is? It's lots of work. Well, here on the grounds, we did have slaves that would work, and then they would send young men and women to help with the harvest whenever. And you would pick cotton. Now, when you pick cotton, you know, this is in the ground, the leaves would have been green. You would have pulled the bolls, the cotton with the seeds out of the burr. Now, the burr is going to be nice and sharp. It's going to cut your fingers. Picking cotton was not an easy thing to do, but they would pick it and take it and process it. Now, we use cotton for so many things. We're going to make our clothes out of it. We're going to stuff our mattresses. We're going to use it to go inside of our quilts so that we'll have warm things to sleep in. I've used some modern stuff. They didn't have that. They would take, and Danielle will be telling you more about it in just a few minutes, but they would get this cotton. We would use it for all sorts of things. Now, how are we going to pick it? And I have a nice volunteer. Sir, you said you've picked some cotton. Okay, this is a very old sack. And we would have gone out to the fields. I won't make you put on this one. This one's pretty old. But it was what they would have picked in. Now, we've got a newer version that's a little cleaner and easier to do. You said you picked a little cotton?
Yes. Matter of fact, back in the old days when I was a youngster, I used to make my summer money by picking cotton and helping out and contributing to the family. So that went on. Because of this, I was able to go to college, get myself a football scholarship, get a degree in accounting, worked in business for 34 years. All that was thanks to the fact that I had the opportunity to get out and earn money picking cotton. And So this was a very beneficial occupation to young people who was attempting to get in the normal society of life, which we were able to step up and
Fantastic.
have wonderful people like you to help us move along in this world.
Did you enjoy picking cotton?
No, ma'am.
It was a back-breaking job, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, because he's going to fill this, and then he's going to take it, and you've got to weigh it. We want to know how much production we're doing. And then on this particular one, we could have untied it. Once you've pulled it up on the scales, you're going to untie it, and you can dump the cotton out of there. So it's really interesting, all of the things that they would have done. Now, did it look this nice? No, you're going to be dragging it down in the dirt. It probably looked a lot more like this one, and it would have been patched because you didn't want that picked cotton falling out of your bag. You wanted it to stay in there so you could get it to your whatever you usually were going to have. We sold cotton. We also kept some of it. And this young boy right here, can you come over here? Once this gentleman would have picked it before we had gins. Come right over here. You see those little seeds in there? Could you sit there and pull those little seeds out for me? Everybody worked here on the farm. Little guys like you would sit up on the porch with a bag of this, and we would pull out these. So can you pull these out? Because Miss Danielle needs to spin it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. All right.
How about that?
Yeah?
So do you feel that little seed? Yeah. Look out there and show them the seeds. Yeah. Do you think that would be fun? Yeah. For maybe about 10 minutes.
No.
Yeah. Oh, but we don't want to throw that down because that's what Danielle's going to use.
Yes, it is.
We're going to keep this, and Miss Danielle is going to be spinning it. So how about we let Miss Danielle show us how to spin?
For sure.
Turn around and look.
Yeah?
Okay.
Miss Danielle, I can pull this out for you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm going to be using a drop spindle.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. You want me to take that off?
Okay, dear.
Let me just grab some supplies. You're going to help me out, sir?
Be as helpful as needed.
Thank you.
Okay.
All
Come
right.
on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I almost got it.
You almost got it? That's great. It'd be all right if I just sat down on the steps? Would that be okay for you guys? Or we'll make it all right?
Yeah, I'll sit there with
You want to sit down and show me? All right. So we're going to make pretend that this right here is the cotton that you just pulled all the seeds out of.
Okay.
And you want to squeeze it?
Yeah.
It feels kind of soft, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's no seeds in it. We pulled out all the bits of leaves. We cleaned it up a little bit. But it's still a little bit inconsistent. When the cotton grows, these are going to be helping us make it straight. So kind of imagine that you woke up in the morning and your hair is all messy, you got tangles. We need to untangle our cotton. We need to untangle our hair. So you rub it on this thing called a carder. You've heard of a birthday card. Well, this is a different kind of card. And you pull them apart. You pull them together like this. Absolutely. You pull them apart just like this. Give it a go. Here, let me hold your cotton for you. Yeah. Pull them apart. Do you want to show them how you're doing it? Sure. Show them right there. Is it easy? Yeah. I think if you were if you were making these, you'd get big, strong arms. And you'd probably get kind of tired of it. It might be good to have some friends to talk to while you were doing it. And let's check. You see how this is all straight looking? It doesn't look all lumpy like this one. It's a lot cleaner.
I'll try it again with that.
Let me give you some more. You can keep going while I'm spinning.
Okay.
So I'm pulling it off, being really careful.
Hey, I wanted to do that.
Oh, you go for it. This is yours. To keep all of the threads, all of the little fibers going in the same direction, I roll it up a little bit like a cinnamon roll. And then I'm going to attempt to spin it. And I'm going to stand up for this because I want gravity and tension to help me out. Let me get it started and you can help me out, sir. So I take my little bit of cotton, I hold it in my left hand, and it looks like all the action is happening down here because this is the bit that's interesting. But the actual thread is being created up here near my fingers. So I spin it, it creates tension on this line, and then I pull my thread back and it twists. You use as much as you want, sir. It twists all the way up, and it's creating a pretty decent little thread. I could do it thicker if I wanted to knit it into a big knobbly sweater. The goal really is consistency. Or a blanket. I could try and do it as thin. You've got 2 blankets at home? Are they made out of cotton? No.
Yeah, sometimes they are.
And you just sort of keep going. The more you do this, the more you end up with wrapped down here on your spindle. The more gravity there is assisting you, a little bit easier it gets. Cotton is particularly difficult to do with this technique because the fibers are so short. If you pull on cotton fibers, they're maybe 1 inch to ½ an inch long. Wool, on the other hand, that you get from like sheep, is nice and long. Actually, that's not sheep wool. Do me a favor. You see that pink thing there? Could you grab it for me? Let's go pick it up. That big pink thing right there, that thing. Does that feel like the cotton?
Yeah.
It does. It's nice and soft the same way.
It's like a blanket.
It is like a blanket because this is wool and it's much longer. You can see those threads are already much longer and much easier to spin. Cotton was more difficult because it's so short. It's part of the reason that now they might grow long fiber cotton. But back in Sam Houston's day, if you were a Texas pioneer, you didn't really have those options. And it would take an incredibly long time, especially at my rate of progress, to create enough to do even a small blanket, let alone something as complicated as the dress I'm wearing, my petticoat, my apron, all of which are cotton.
I know. I gotta get all this cotton on you.
Does anybody have any questions about any of this?
Tina does.
Yeah? Well, what would we be doing with this after I make this? I've got a nice string, but we'd probably be turning it into something we could weave. There's as many different kinds of looms as there are cultures in this country. There's some that make little belts. There's some that make big, wide things.
Miss Danielle, what if we wanted it colored? Could we make different colors?
Yes, we could.
What would we use to make it?
Some of the things we've got are right here on the farm.
Yeah.
I'd recommend, have you ever eaten a pecan?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you know what the shell of a pecan looks like?
What?
Well, it's kind of brown, and you can boil that up, and that's good for dyeing with. There's a lot of different plants, even right here on these 15 acres in the museum grounds, that are really good. Here, now go for it.
Okay.
Give it a try.
Okay.
Keep going.
Would you like to show your mom how to do it? Okay. Well, this is.
Come on, Mommy.
Go. You can take it over there to her.
You sit-
We're going to actually. We want a nice
this.
warm blanket. He needs a nice warm blanket, and we would have taken scraps of fabric and hand sewn them together. But then we want to put some nice warm stuff in between, and to keep this in place, we have to stitch. So we would card it, and just instead of spinning it into nice little things, we would make a nice pad. And from that, the quilting stitches, we're going to have to quilt it and to keep that cotton together. We're going to put something on the back, just some plain fabric, and then some cotton in between, and then we're going to just quilt just a ½ inch apart to keep this from shifting, because when we have to wash this, we're going to have to boil it and to get it clean. And so we're going to make sure that that cotton stays in our blanket, our quilt, and make it last as long as we can. So this is going to be another use. Some of the mattresses, have you ever thought what they would have slept on? Here in this cabin, I would think where they were at, we would have stuffed our mattress with
Not
moss
so hard, just a little bit thin.
or with corn husk.
That way.
Eventually, here on the farm, the Woodland Home Farm, they would have probably at some point made their mattress with cotton, making it a little bit better. So there were all sorts of things that we could do. Is he getting to be a good spinner?
We're getting to be a pretty decent spinner.
Okay.